Good afternoon. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here, for participating in the program. I wanted to start off by thanking the Chamber for such a fantastic event and the speakers because I've already learned so much in a short period of time. My name is Alan Shaheen. I'm an Executive Vice President with Cognizant. I run our North American delivery centers that we have across the US and Canada. I'm going to focus in particular on some of the things that we're doing in the United States with this talk. Cognizant is a Fortune 200 organization. We're global, and over the past few years, our whole life has been about STEM education, and creating a more robust and scale STEM workforce. So let's take a bit of a step back and let me talk to you about the current circumstances that we see. First of all, we've arrived. And when I mean we've arrived, I'm talking about the US economy in general, from the standpoint of we have now reached the future of work, where digital technologies and capabilities are all fully integrated into social, economic, and government activities. And so from that perspective, Cognizant has been working very effectively to help our clients get through that, into that, and be successful in that environment. But at the same time, that's really bad right now, because if you take a look at the digital economy, we're in a place right now where the United States, which has historically been the greatest innovator from a digital standpoint, where we have used that platform for global competitiveness, we no longer have the workforce that we need to service that economy. I'm going to give you just a couple of data points because we've been talking about this all morning, but if you look at where we're at today, there are 600,000 open computer science positions across the country today. If you take a look at the supply side, each year we graduate about 50,000 people from computer science programs in the United States. To put a different perspective on that, India and China each graduate about 200,000 in similar programs. And so you can look at the math in terms of the gap and say, what do we do about this? Well, there are three things that we're doing from a Cognizant standpoint. One, of course, is going to the market and hiring aggressively. But for those of you who have been in the market for some time and have witnessed and experienced some things like this, you know where that leads to. When I experienced this a couple of other times in my career, what's happened is those individuals that are trained and experienced in these specific technologies and capabilities that are relevant, everyone goes after them. What happens is the cost structures go up, and more importantly, it becomes a revolving door where people go from place to place, organization to organization, and the productivity goes down as the price goes up. The other thing that we have started to do is just recognize you cannot hire your way out of this problem. We effectively have to create the talent that's required. In order to do that, we have done a couple of things that I'm going to go into. The first is what we call pre-employment training programs. The second is with creative partnerships with local four-year and community colleges across the country to help build that workforce. Let me start with the pre-employment program, and we've got really two flavors of this. The first element of it is the pre-employment program for mid-career professionals that are outside of IT but have the aptitude, the attitude, and the social skills relevant for what we need. We partner with a variety of organizations that know the profile of what we're looking for, and I want to stress very much about the importance of attitude along with aptitude. There are so many people who are out there today that did not take the direct path into IT, have the aptitude for it, but more importantly, have the motivation and the attitude for it. And so we work with partners to identify those profiles and to get them into pre-employment programs where they go through 3 to 6 month training efforts to get them some of the precise skills and capabilities that allow them and enable them to bridge into IT. That has been very successful for us over the past year as we've piloted some of those programs, and we've been able to put forward about 1,200 people through those programs in 2018. And we're looking to further that and scale it as we go into 2019. The second element of it is what we call our Learn to Hire program. And this is where, again, we work with partners that have relationships with universities across the country. We mutually identify the profiles that are critically important, and again, with a focus on aptitude and with a focus on attitude, and more importantly, how the social skills and the interaction capabilities are with these folks. We put them through a dedicated 3-month program, again, mutually constructed with our partners, so we're both all in on the curriculum, and targeted towards those specific market needs where we know these college graduates who have a lot of enthusiasm will now come into the workforce with the dedicated skills that our clients are looking for, and we can more quickly get them onto productive client projects. The third element that I mentioned is our university programs. And a number of people have alluded to this, but historically, we've gone to the classic 4-year universities, and we've been able to get people through that program, but we're finding more and more with the median tuition in the United States at $50,000 and taking 4 years, there is a lot of fantastic talent that is taking a more practical approach and saying, if I can get a really solid 2-year program at a community college that is targeted to my preferred profession in life, that's where I'm going to go. We've started a partnership with Maricopa Community College in the Phoenix area, and I wanted to do a shout out to Todd, because we also have put a training center and a delivery center in Phoenix to take advantage of that relationship with Maricopa and to service some of the clients that see the value of going into some of these locations where there are great talent pools that can be consistent and sustainable over time. So with Maricopa, we've developed customized programs to take these graduates and put them into the programs, the skill sets, the service lines that are relevant to us. In addition to that, we've started to work on partnerships with some of the 4-year institutions as well. Arizona State, for example, we're having a regular dialogue with them about how we can further develop some programs that would get us the right kind of talent on a go-forward basis. So those are the things that we're looking at from a Cognizant Corporation standpoint, and we've been doing pretty well, as I mentioned, but there's another element to it. And as we started the year in 2018 and we looked at the broad scale of what's required, we were pleased with our plans to say we'll get 1,200 or 1,500 people through the system in the pilot, but we know that the required scale is significantly more than that. And so we took $100 million from our corporate tax windfall and created the Cognizant US Foundation. The mission and charter of that organization is to go out and find organizations that help enable different communities that are underrepresented in the IT community and help enable them into the IT community. And those underrepresented communities are women, people of color, and veterans in particular. And so if we take a look at that, we've started to go out and find organizations that are in fact doing great work in those areas, and we try to help accelerate them in terms of scale and the programs that they're doing. But enablement is just one small part of the overall activity, because if you're going to change lives, you need to get placements, you need to get employment. And so we've added 3 other things to the enablement front. There is guidance and support. If you think about the challenges and you think about the daunting prospect for somebody who has never been in IT, is maybe a first-generation university or community college person, that's a tough thing to do. So we have harnessed the volunteer spirit at Cognizant and gathered up many of the people who have volunteered to do something with our foundation, and we're going to use those folks as potential guides, coaches, etc., for these people who are interested in these kind of programs, participating in these kind of programs, or graduates of these kind of programs. The idea is that support network can help these folks by being a safe environment where they can ask questions that they wouldn't otherwise be able to ask. They can get a better perspective on what's going on in IT, what are the technologies that are relevant, what are the methodologies that are relevant, what is it like being in that kind of community, what are employers really looking for, and even things as simple as when I do an interview, how should I look, what should I say, what should I focus on, right? And so guidance and support we find is critically important and is an imperative to helping people get to the next stage. Now, if you're going to get placements, you need to have employers. And so what we've started to do is create an employer network of potential opportunities for our graduates to look at. They need an on-ramp. They need to know that they don't just go through enablement, do the training, have some nice people to talk to, and then get dumped into the job market. What we want to be able to do is now say, look, we've got a network where you can jump into, participate into, and it gives you a head start in your job search. And then finally, what we're putting in place is infrastructure and technology. I'm a geek at heart, just like Lee is, and I think that this is critically important. We need to make sure that we have the measurements both for us to know that we're doing well, for the associates, the trainees to know that they're doing well, and we're also trying to put in place an alumni network so that this group of people can create their own ecosystem and network to be self-supporting and self-directing. So this year, again, we've been very successful from a piloting standpoint. We're enthusiastic about going into next year and scaling this up. The feedback that we have gotten from the students and from the partners has been excellent, and we're on a roll. But don't take my word for it. Why don't we hear directly from some of the students in these programs and our partners as well?
Technology is disrupting and has disrupted the world of education. And so I think that there is a fair amount of ground to be made up. The skills gap has really evolved in this country. I think it's a regular conversation. I think educators, people in universities, nonprofits are all really trying to figure out. I think employers have also been able to articulate how to think about the skills that they need with the jobs and the kind of future of work in a really important way.
The private sector plays an important role in really closing that skills gap. Cognizant's investments are certainly helping to create the future workforce. And that's through places like here in our investment in Perscola. And so it's been a great partnership, and that's led to us establishing partnerships with several other, both traditional organizations like community colleges and universities, as well as non-traditional training organizations like Tech Talent South and Reviture, LaunchCode, and several others. We're creating a new engine for talent. This is a new model of a train to hire that has not existed in the past, and we are really helping to be a leader in doing that.
Perscola trains over 1,500 individuals yearly, and through partnerships and collaborative efforts like what we're doing with Cognizant, we are literally setting the tone on how companies can rethink and get the support that they need to develop diverse talent pipelines, and that's how we will continue to address the U.S. skills gap.
I chose to attend the Cognizant training program because I was at a point in my life where I was looking for work and I wasn't getting a lot of feedback.
I'm also interested in to further my education, and I feel that this is going to take me where I can work anywhere in the world.
I would advise anybody who just graduated college and is having a hard time to find work to definitely check out this program. College doesn't teach you the skills to get a job, it just teaches you a foundation work for you to choose your own path.
Graduating from this program is going to distinguish my resume from other applicants, so I'm looking forward for the growth and the development from this program.
The instructors are great and the programs are so They're hands-on. They give you everything you need to get a grasp of the skill set that you're learning. So if you're considering this program, I really recommend that you look into the programs that are offered right now and see if there's something that you're interested in, because if it is, go grab your seat.
So I just want to close again by saying thank you. These are programs that we've taken a lot of effort and put a lot of investment into. But it means that there are a lot of changes that we've had to make in our own delivery models, in our own outreach to talent, in our own outreach to clients. Thank you again. Have a great lunch, and I look forward to seeing you again in the market.